It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition, where we sometimes have technical difficulties, but it's also where we talk movies, TV, comics, pop culture, and everything in between. I am your host, Evan Bernstein, and I am joined by the man with arguably the best tidbits in the game, knows his movie, loves his movies, and if you know him, you'll love his heart. It is Zach from Zach Attack Reviews.
Appreciate that. That was so nice. Oh my God. The best host in the game,
I
man.
Can hear you.
Well, you guys don't understand what we just went through for like 40 minutes.
Oh my goodness. That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe Beats. I thought Beats by Dre would come in handy, but no, I guess not.
Dre, you messing up, Dre.
I know. But you guys aren't messing up because you're here to join us to talk some great things that are going on in the world of pop culture. And we got some good stuff. We got Tobey back in the game, possibly in Doomsday. We got maybe Wonder Woman appearing in Man of Tomorrow, the Superman sequel. Unfortunately, yes, final bids are in for Warner Brothers Discovery. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit of Apple TV Plus's Pluribus, which is crushing the charts right now. Everyone's watching this show. We are going to dive into a Forbes article that came out that says, yes, Superman did make a profit. So all those haters out there, I'm sorry, but statistics don't lie. And then we're going to talk a little bit about AI on-set photos. What does it mean? What is it doing to fandom? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it messing with our heads? We're going to get into that as well. And then we're going to end with a little bit of these Frozen stars making all the monies in the world. So we got so much to get into. I say, let's dive right into it. I want to get into this. So as we know, Doomsday is coming out next year. We are hot on the heels of a trailer coming out this December. And the question is, who's going to be in this movie? Where are they going to pull from in the multiverse? And are they going to bring arguably one of the GOATs that started it all, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? And earlier this week, we did get reports that Tobey is going to be in Doomsday, but maybe not the classic suit that we all know and love. That's right. This comes to us from Superhero Hype. They say fans theorize that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man may be getting an advanced tech suit similar to Tom Holland's in Infinity War and Endgame. Others suggest that the CG and motion capture gear hid in a new suit design that Tobey Maguire was wearing on set. That's right. And this comes from Scooper Daniel RPK, who says that Tobey Maguire was reportedly wearing a CGI suit while filming in Avengers Doomsday. So not only are we getting confirmation that we got earlier in the week that he is going to be in the movie, which everyone ran with, even though there was nothing really too credible to let us know. Now they're running with not only is he in the movie, but he was wearing CGI suit. And what could this actually mean? I think I've seen on the internet that people have been talking that this CGI suit could be indeed, yes, the black suit from Secret Wars, and that Tobey Maguire might be the person to don the suit. If that is true, One, what do you think about Tobey Maguire coming back as Spider-Man in this huge Avengers team up? And two, what do you think about him possibly donning the black suit in this multiversal story that we're going to see unfold?
Yeah, so I totally expected after No Way Home for Toby and Andrew to come back, whether it was in Doomsday or Secret Wars. So I'm kind of more surprised that it's in Doomsday because they have all those X-Men characters in it. So I thought the movie was going to be packed and full, plus the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts. So I thought, oh, we'll
Right.
get Andrew and Toby in the more multiversal movie. But having him here kind of makes sense because he came out around the same time as those original X-Men. So to finally get them to meet and see each other is gonna be like mind blowing. Him having a CGI suit, I think that makes sense. I think that he's had the same suit for forever and a day, and we
Yeah.
already saw it in No Way
It's
Home.
been
So it makes sense they
25
give him
years, bro.
yeah, 25 years of the same suit. And normally superheroes get new suits every couple movies or every movie. And he just hasn't had a chance. So it makes sense that they're gonna bring him back, give him a new look. Now, him having the black suit, I don't like because I feel like if they're going to do the black suit proper in the MCU, that's something that Tom Holland's Spider-Man should have the honor of doing, especially if it's Secret Wars where it was originally done. If you're going to do that and really show that he's becoming the Spider-Man we know and love, which was promised at the end of No Way Home, he should don the black suit. But I also understand why they might feel like it's too soon for him to don the black suit because he's going to have one movie as like a Spider-Man on his own, and then he
Suit
gets
level.
to the black suit right away. I think that would be a little too much, but they could figure it out.
No, great minds think alike. And when I'm hearing some feedback. Are you hearing that, by the way?
What are you hearing?
Are you hearing feedback when I talk at all? Or
No.
is it this darn beat headphone? They're really beat. I honestly felt the same way when I heard the news about, if he is in this movie, which nothing is confirmed, but if he is in this movie, that Daniel RPK is saying he has a CGI suit, right? And so people automatically think, oh, black suit has to be. And my first thought was very similar to yours. That black suit, Tom Holland has earned that. He has been our Spider-Man in the MCU for 10 years now. And to see his journey up into that point where the story gets more adult, where the stakes are higher, where people, are dying around him, to not, dive into the black suit, the symbiote story within Tom Holland's Spider-Man journey, I think it would do him a huge disservice.
I
Now,
agree.
can we have both? That is the question. And I think, yeah, if, with better writers than us, of course, there is a way to do it, but it's a fine line because you don't want to take away from that moment when Tom Holland finally gets to don the black suit and have those iconic Secret Wars images that we've been waiting for. And so it would be interesting for Tobey to have the black suit, and then you're like, oh, and then it passed on to Tom Holland and in Secret Wars. Like, it would have to make a lot of sense. So I don't necessarily know if the CGI suit means symbiote. Yeah.
You said something there that made me make where it could make sense. If
Pass it.
Tobey Maguire's character gets it and then he perishes, which a lot of people thought was going to happen in No Way Home, and the Tom takes it
Stabbed.
upon himself of anger, like, oh my god, because it's basically it's his brother, right? Like at that point, they establish that they feel like brothers to each other, and this is the only person in the whole multiverse that understands exactly how he feels. So they establishing that, maybe having them have some more moments in the movie. If he dies fighting Doom, and Tom is there, and he takes on the suit because of that, then it would make an emotional statement. Because in the Secret Wars comic, the way he gets the suit is not as impressive, or like it just kind of just happens.
Right.
So usually when
They
stuff
just
like
wanted
that
him in a black suit. They wanted to,
yeah,
it wasn't the symbiote stuff did not, right? And
came later. It came
came
later.
way later, if I remember, in
Yeah,
Secret Wars.
they
It was just like
updated it.
they wanted they wanted him to have a black suit. Like they wanted to switch it up a little bit with Spider-Man. The look,
Yeah.
right? That's it.
That's exactly what it was, and you can see how he got the suit. How in the comics, how that it felt like it wasn't super planned, and for it to be a big moment, just a color change. So I feel like what the MCU does really well, things that feel like out of nowhere in comics, they add emotional things to it and change it up a bit. So I could definitely see. There's a situation where Tobey is wearing the suit. He's angry for whatever reason. Maybe him and Tom and Andrew Garfield's characters are trying to like get him out of it, especially since Andrew Garfield character was already there in that dark place. And then he perishes fighting Doom, and then Tom takes on the suit because he's now pissed.
And let's go back to the first thing, right?
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man in Doomsday. That alone
Huge
is fantastic because we've been waiting so long for the heroes that we grew up with to finally start teaming up and being in the same movie. Of course, when the MCU happened and that became a sort of, event thing that people could look towards, it was way after we had, the original X-Men and Blade and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. It was way after where, these same worlds coming together in one movie didn't happen back then. So him being in Doomsday, yes, fantastic. We finally get to see Tobey Maguire interact with other heroes throughout the multiverse, which is super exciting. And on top of that, I just watched again one of my favorites, No Way Home, last night. We got to see that there is no Avengers in his universe. He never got those team ups. So just like us, the audience, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man has been waiting for a team up of his own. And so it's just what a great payoff that would be to see his Spider-Man with the X-Men that we grew up, and then sprinkle in, our Captain America, Falcon, and, and Hulk. And that is just, wow, what a thing to behold, to finally see our OGs and our currents all mesh together to really make the story like come alive and have those nostalgia berries like that keep you invested and not just a cameo. You're frozen. You're frozen. I thought you were very invested in my take. Oh man, we were doing so well. Yeah, it's cutting in and out. But your frozen picture is very clear. So silver lining. I don't know. Maybe come out, go out and come back in. Oh, wait. Oh, it cleared up a little bit. It's a little fuzzy though. Okay. A little fuzzy. Stop doing that. Your camera's trying to adjust. I can see you, but it's coming in fuzzy. So if you want to come out and come back in, it's all good.
I'll do. Okay. Let me do that.
But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for Tobey Maguire Spider-Man to finally be in these team up Avengers type movies? And on top of that, the reports are saying it could be a CGI suit. So is that something that you would want to see if he is in the movie? Would you want to see him don the classic black suit that we know Spider-Man will have in Secret Wars? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. So, as we know, hot off the heels of Superman, we have Man of Tomorrow shooting pretty soon in April of 2026. And we're starting to see some casting calls. And it was reported earlier this week that one of the casting calls may be hinting towards our girl, Diana Prince. That's right. Wonder Woman might be in Man of Tomorrow, the Superman sequel. And this comes to us from our friends at MovieWeb. They're saying, will Wonder Woman make her DCU debut in James Gunn's Superman Fall and Man of Tomorrow? Regarded as part of the DC Trinity alongside Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time and is set to play a major role in the DCU. She's getting her own solo film written by Supergirl's Anna Maguire, as well as an HBO prequel series, Paradise Lost, centered on the Amazons of Themyscira. Like the DCEU, introducing Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Gunn might go with a similar route for Man of Tomorrow. Nexus Point News is reporting that a new female hero is being cast for Man of Tomorrow. The report described the character as being in her late 20s, having an edge to her. The production is seeking a tall actress, as the character is described as being a warrior and having a strong physique. It's not confirmed if the casting call is referring to Wonder Woman, but the description not only fits the bill, but lines up with Gunn's comments about prioritizing the iconic DC hero. The description Nexus Point News share certainly sounds like Wonder Woman. James Gunn has previously said that the DC characters won't be cast until a script is finished, but that may not include the Wonder Woman reboot. If she is a part of Gunn's plan of Man of Tomorrow, that means he would cast the role because the script is done. And as we saw actually earlier this weekend, the storyboards are stacking up. So he's getting ready to film pretty soon. And as we know, earlier quotes of Zaslav saying that the 4 pillars of the DCU will be Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, and Supergirl, which James Gunn did later confirm is pretty much true. I want to ask you, based off this insanely vague and also kind of specific casting, do you think that this is indeed referencing a Wonder Woman? And what is the likelihood, do you think, of Wonder Woman appearing in Superman Man of Tomorrow?
I think there's a pretty high chance for that to happen, because if it's a Brainiac situation, I can see them bringing in bigger heroes to come help with that, because Brainiac started as like a Superman problem, but he quickly turned into a Justice League problem.
Right.
So I think Zaslav really wants to get the ball rolling on the universe. Felt like James Gunn was going to take a slower approach, which is what I prefer, but I think he wants to get these bigger guns out there, no pun intended, to really get it rolling. And see, like you said, the script is done for this movie. If you wrote with Wonder Woman in mind, it makes sense to cast her. And then hopefully he's taught. I didn't know that the woman who's writing Supergirl is going to go do Wonder Woman. So if she's in constant contact with Gunn, which it seems like, hey, Lucas,
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Then it kind of makes sense, because she seems like they have a good relationship, because she's also doing Titans. She did Supergirl. She's supposed to be doing Wonder Woman. So this is like his Russo brothers. So I definitely think there's a high chance that it is Wonder Woman, but I'll say like 60-40, because there's a chance that this could be any other female character. It could be a wonky in the cut character that Guns likes to bring to live action.
So it could be like Titania. Life. It could be any, or no, wait, is that like Titania? It could be
and that could hit to
like like it could be any strong
Big Barda
woman with an edge, right?
Yeah, it could be a lot of different DC characters, but I do think the excitement would be if it was the first look at Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is such an untapped character when it comes to live action or even animated. There's so much they could do with this, and there's so many women out there and men that are looking for this character to be like more of a mainstay, to get more things going on. And I think that this is a time. It's funny that it feels like what they did with the DCU with like BVS bringing her in and having all these other heroes and stuff
Right.
like that involved, and having this big central character and Lex Luthor being involved. But I feel like Gunn's gonna put his own spin on it and make it a more fun, open experience.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And for those that are worried, like, oh, he's putting too much in it, it's gonna be BVS, it's, you know, calm down. I think what James Gunn is really good at doing is making the universe feel lived in. And when it feels lived in, that means there's characters that come and go that are well known in the universe. You hear their name, you see them, but this is a slice in the life of this universe, if you will. And so I think James Gunn has found a great balance of like introducing a Guy Gardner, a Hawk Girl, and not taking away from the main story. So, yes, so, Wonder Woman is a lot bigger name than those, but if she's going to be the Trinity or the quad of the four, pillars of the DCU, then it's about time we start seeing her come in some capacity. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be a huge capacity, but I would like to know that she lives in this universe, and I want to see more of her because with Gal Gadot, we didn't get that. We got a great first movie. We got a great introduction, I thought, in BVS. I thought that was a perfectly fine way to introduce her, but
Yeah.
then we didn't get to see much after that, and it kind of fell apart, and that's unfair to the character of Wonder Woman. She's too big to fall apart. She needs more, and I feel like this is a great opportunity in the Superman sequel to give her more and have her breathe and live a little bit just in this universe.
To the point now that I'm starting to think I don't want it to be her. I feel like if she's being introduced, I feel like maybe she introduced in her own film, but instead of being like a
Okay,
tack on to Superman, because it would feel weird if they did this to Batman, right? Like if it was like a tack on in a
that's
Superman
true.
movie about Brainiac and all this other stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted her to, or her first time we see her is either in Paradise Lost, maybe at the end, or in that Wonder Woman movie, and then she interacts with everybody else after.
Totally. No, I agree because, like, don't get it twisted, but Wonder Woman is a lot of people's Batman. She is beloved character. And so I do think there is a fine line of also doing a disservice and just, camoing her in Superman movie. So if she is in it, it has to be done right. But I think what it comes down to is this casting description could be literally anyone. It does not necessarily mean Wonder Woman. I think a lot of times, people run with it because maybe think, it's a little slow day at the office.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think that this description is automatically Wonder Woman, but if it is, I think James Gunn has a way to introduce her that makes sense, but I don't think it is because I really think this is a Lex Superman story, and that is like the crux of this movie, and I just don't see Wonder Woman fitting in yet.
I agree. And I think he's bringing back all the supporting characters from the first movie, like Hawk
And they didn't
Girl,
get
and they
yeah,
get a lot.
they didn't get their due, right?
Yes, so if all those characters are coming back, his Daily Planet family, his literal family, his superhero family, where does Wonder Woman fit in there, and how does she not outshine everyone? If this
Right.
actress is amazing and she is the Wonder Woman we deserve, it will outshine like a Hawk Girl or a
Yeah,
Green Lantern or even Mr. Terrific, which is a character people are really, really wanting to see more of.
you're right.
So I do see there's an opportunity where he might not want to do that because then it will be maybe too much.
No, I totally agree. That's a great point because if you do have such a big name in, then like Wonder Woman, then you're going to start taking away from these great characters that you introduced in the first one that people are still falling in love with, like a Mr. Terrific, like a Jimmy Olsen who's getting his own show. Like, so you
Yeah.
still want to like give them moments because that Superman movie was so jam-packed that even though I fell in love with a lot of the characters, I still felt like I wanted to see more of them. And if you introduce a Wonder Woman in the sequel, it's going to take away from seeing more of those side characters that we already started to fall in love with and we want to see more of.
I don't want it to turn into a Guardians movie. He already he got real close in the first one. And I don't want it to be a situation where like
Or
now
that.
every Superman movie, he's like leading a team in every movie. I want it to focus on Clark, and obviously Lois is a big part
And
of it, but like over and Lex. So that if that's like the three pillars of every Superman movie, that totally makes sense. But I don't want a bunch of superheroes always in his movies.
I totally agree. Well, let us know what you guys think. One, do you think that this casting call is definitely hinting that Wonder Woman is going to be in the Superman sequel? And two, is this how you want Wonder Woman to be introduced in the DCU? Drop your comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into it because it is official. The official first round of bids for Warner Brothers Discovery are in, and we got a lot to discuss because that means that this bad boy is moving along quickly and they want to make a decision by the end of December. So yes, it is indeed true. We will see a big company own Warner Brothers Discovery very, very, very soon. This comes to us from Variety. They say, Warner Brothers Discovery is about to dive into the nitty-gritty work of deciding whether to sell itself in whole or in part. The media conglomerate, home to Warner Brothers, HBO, HBO Max, CNN, TBS, HGTV, and much more, is now evaluating multiple acquisition offers. First round bids, which were due Thursday, November 20th, were expected to be submitted by Paramount Skydance, Comcast, and Netflix. A source with knowledge of the situation said that those three entities did submit non-binding preliminary offers by noon on that deadline. It's unclear if there were other expressions of interest. Multiple sources noted the bidding process required participants to sign non-disclosure agreements, of course, as is commonplace. Paramount Skydance, Netflix, and Comcast, unsurprisingly, declined to comment, as did Warner Bros. Discovery. Last month, as we reported on the show, Warner Bros. Discovery announced that it had received inbound M&A interest from multiple parties and kicked off a process to review offers. That means that this process is starting now as official bids are in. So yes, some people may be wondering, oh, I thought, Paramount Skydance already, had two bids rejected. I thought Apple was interested, blah, blah, blah. That means right now that these are official bids where they are actually starting to make decisions. So yes, those reports were true that there were some preliminary offers thrown out from Paramount Skydance side that were rejected by Warner Brothers. But this means that these entities have now had their ducks in a row, and these are official offers. And this is round one. So let's fight. Yes, we are here, unfortunately. And, David Ellison, fresh off closing the deal, forming Paramount Skydance in August, is known to have submitted bids for WBD in its entirety. In October, the Warner Brothers Discovery Board rejected his $23.5 share offer of 80% cash and 20% stock, which also proposed making David Zaslav co-chairman and co-CEO of the merged company. Paramount Skydance's bid this week, fully backed by the Ellison family, along with Redbird Capital, was expected to roughly be in line with Ellison's previous $23.5 share offer. The Wall Street Journal just reported this past Wednesday. WBD said it will consider proposals in which the Warner Bros. Business HBO Max and Studios, is sold separately from Discovery Global, the TV-centric company. That aligns with WBD's already underway plan to split into two companies by April 2026, with Zaslav set to become CEO of Warner Brothers and current CFO Gunnar Wendenfels to become chief executive of Discovery Global. Netflix and Comcast, which is splitting NBC Universal in two with the spinoff of the Versant cable focused company by year end, have been looking to acquire Warner Brothers streaming and studio operations. They aren't interested in WBD's cable TV business. So we possibly could see this bad boy get split up and start getting divided depending on, whose offers they like most. So, my friend, unfortunately, the nails are being hammered into the coffin, and we are going to see this bad boy get split up and definitely purchased. It was being reported earlier this week that if Netflix did buy this, that they would stick to a theatrical window for their movies. I want to ask you, because we've gotten already into this a lot about the different entities, the bids. Yes, we're here. Does it change your mind at all with this report of Netflix being more in line with regular, theatrical releases with their movies?
Feel like they've been kind of slowly planning this because it seems like they've been releasing films theatrically, and especially with these bigger directors. Frankenstein got 2 weeks, Narnia is getting a full run, Train Dreams got 2 weeks. So it seems like, and that's not even from like a big director. So I feel like Netflix has been testing the waters on many things to start becoming more of a traditional company, which is so funny to me because they're big because they're a non-traditional company. But they even doing like the part ones and the part twos instead of like the week releases. They're doing like every couple week releases to kind of bring up conversation, because Netflix is missing that water cooler shows, because their shows are good for one weekend and then people move on. They don't have that thing where like HBO has that every Sunday this show comes out, and then on Monday you go talk about it, and then you theorize it for the rest of the week what's going to happen, and the next Sunday comes. My friends are talking about it, Welcome to Derry, every week. It's not we binged it and now we moved on. So I can see Netflix. Yeah,
I only
Netflix
watch
wants
episode
to do
1.
that. Yeah, it's I think episode 5 is tonight. So like it's a really good show. Netflix has a lot of really good shows, but a lot of them kind of just die off really fast because everyone watched all 8 episodes and they just move on to the next 8 episode series, and you don't recommend it to your friend. You just keep it to yourself. It doesn't trend. Unless it's like a Stranger Things or Adolescence, or it's Adolescence, right? That was a show, or Dahmer or stuff like that, where it's like this cultural, like, oh my God, this is kind of realistic, or it's a throwback OG show.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they're prepared to start doing that. And I'm starting to hope that they're the ones that win, weirdly, because of that.
I gotta say, my boy Zach is wicked smart, because I love that, everyone has this smoke screen, right? Of like, hey, Netflix is agreeing to theatrical releases. But what Zach is focusing on, which we should be talking about more, is what is the releases going to look like with their TV shows? Because as we know, Netflix is a put it all on at once. And like you were referring to, after it's done being binge, it gets kind of forgotten. Whereas HBO has come to this model of weekly episodes that build on water cooler talk and get you really invested in the shows. I love that you put the focus on, well, what is the show's releases going to look like if Netflix has HBO under their umbrella now? And I think that is something extremely important to look at, and something that obviously Netflix has been very coy about, because they only focused on the movie side of things because they know a lot of people are scared of Ted Sarantis' stand on theatrical releases when it comes to Netflix movies. But that is a very good thing to also think about, is what are shows going to look like when Netflix owns HBO? That's very interesting and
Are they
makes
going
me
to keep them
sad.
separate? Is it going
Yeah,
to be like
they better.
HBO is a tab on Netflix, or is it going we're going
You
to
have
own
to.
it and keep it separate entities and just make money off of both? That's the real thing.
I think you have to, because HBO's brand in the name, I mean, for God's sakes, it's not called Warner Brothers Max. Like they use HBO name brand to spearhead their entire streaming service. So
Yeah.
to get rid of HBO, that would be a huge mistake. And I think you need to continue to let HBO breathe and be its own entity, under the Netflix model. And as we've seen in recent years, a lot of HBO shows are now on Netflix and get better word of mouth because they
Yeah.
went on to a, global streaming service, which I think is a model that they could work on when it comes to them potentially owning HBO. I think that would lend well for them. That would help with shows like Warrior and a lot of shows that fall by the wayside, or Lovecraft Country getting more than one season. I think there is actually potential there, positive potential, to use Netflix as a shepherd for HBO shows to have a wider audience. So I think there is a way to make it better, and that would be really cool, positive at least, for looking at this very scary merger.
Even like
Acquisition.
Halo was a failure on Paramount, went to Netflix and is doing numbers. So like, and people are like talking about it now, so, which
I
is
know.
so
I'm like,
funny because the show was
we never
canceled and
talked about it
done.
when it was out.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's it, right? We got our three. We got NBC, Comcast Global, right? Or whatever,
Mhm.
and Netflix and Paramount Skydance. Those are the big three. And so
Yeah.
out of these three, and I think we're feeling the same way. I never thought I would say this, but I am starting to feel like the safest hands might be Netflix.
Yeah.
That this is a huge win for them, because now they can focus on still straight to streaming, but now they have a huge in the theaters, you know, stream that they can go to. So I
Make
think
money.
it's like they can have the best of both worlds and make more money. Yes. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to happen at all, obviously, but
But it's
it
going
looks
to.
like we're getting to the point it's going to be the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, like Paramount is the evil. Like I don't want them to own it because
Yeah.
we see how they bend the knee to things, and when something is not liked by certain people, they'll just cancel it. So I don't, and they their model and how Paramount Plus is run and how the shows that do really well in Paramount don't fit what HBO does, right? Like Paramount is the home of Landman and Yellowstone and 1883 and Mayor of Kingstown, more
Basically
conservative,
Tyler Sure. Taylor Sure.
middle of the country, cowboy stuff like that.
Yeah,
And Warner has been more liberal with their stuff, right? They reach out to a spectrum of different kind of people. They'll have a cowboy show here, but that's not really the big thing that's on HBO. It's mostly like
right.
they'll have a show about an older lady like Hacks, or they'll have a show about two lesbians, or they'll have a show like Lovecraft
Right.
Country, or they'll have
Yeah.
incest dragons.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the hell?
Incest dragons. Yeah.
Yeah, like they'll do topics that are kind of like taboo a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm worried that they'll get swallowed up and then all that stuff gets wiped away.
Yeah, and all that work to get to that point, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, for the longest time, full frontal with women was the standard, and it was never men, and it was never gay relationships, bi relationships, And so I feel like HBO was really spearheading pushing those stories forward and allowing those voices to be heard. And if
Yeah.
Netflix or Comcast or Paramount Skydance buys it, they're going to be less inclined to push those stories and give those voices a platform. And that is something scary. And that is not progression. You know, that's degression. I don't want to digress, but I digress. All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think. The bids are in. It is official. These are the big three. Is there one that you prefer? Obviously, we prefer none of it to happen. But if so, what do you think is the right choice? And do you think Netflix is going to stick to their word and actually give us those theatrical theater experiences? Or is it a ploy to get us on board, get our money, and then we don't see any movies in the theaters? Drop a comment below, drop a tier below, share your thoughts, share your misery, because we share it with you, and we'll keep our eye on it as we get closer to the end of the year. All right, guys. With that down, there is a streamer that is absolutely crushing it with their TV shows. That's right. And it seems like Apple TV has another banger on their docket, and that is Vince Gilligan's Pluribus. That's right, my friends. The creator of Breaking Bad is back in a big bad way, and he's bringing his X-Files roots into this new series, and people are loving it. This comes to us from Deadline. They say, you have to pay. No, I'm just kidding. They say years of unprecedented secrecy, a hard to explain premise, and a title many have to look up in the dictionary did not hamper Pluribus's launch on Apple TV's most viewed drama of all time. Wow. According to the streamer, the series from Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan broke the record previously held by, of course, Severance Season 2 for the biggest global drama series launch across Apple TV's more than 100 territories, led by US, UK, Canada, Brazil, Australia, Germany, Mexico, India, and France. In the US, the viewership high mark has been corroborated by the Nielsen streaming content ratings, measuring minutes for episodes 1 and 2 of drama originals over premiere weekend. Pluribus, starring Rhea Seehorn, debuted with 2 episodes Friday, November 7th. While official Nielsen data will not be available for a couple weeks, Luminate reported earlier this week that Pluribus logged 6.4 million hours with its first 2 episodes over the first 7 days of a release in the US. A strong showing that landed the series at number 4 for the week behind shows that all had significantly more episodes available. There have also been anecdotal evidence with reports of Apple TV app crashing from such high demand after the first 2 episodes of Pluribus were put on the platform. Head of programming of Apple TV said, rarely has keeping the secret of a show we love so much been as fun or as rewarding experience as it has with Pluribus. Vince's strikingly inventive premise blew us away from the second we read it. And witnessing the brilliance with which he has brought this series to life is truly remarkable. It's a thrill to watch audiences around the world get hooked on this thought-provoking, insightful, and darkly funny show rooted in humanity by an exceptional cast led by the talented Rhea Seehorn. I want to ask you, my friend, your TV credits have been lacking. Have you seen Pluribus?
No,
if you
I
have
have
not
not.
seen Pluribus, I want to ask you, what do you think of such a big reception to the beginning of a very talked about show? And why do you think this is hitting audiences around the globe in such a big bad way?
Yeah, I've been interested in the show because I think the poster was really interesting and the name of it. I was like, what is this about? Then I heard that it was from the creator of Breaking Bad. I was like, okay, I haven't watched Breaking Bad, but from what people tell me is that's one of the best written things in the 21st century. So I was excited about that. And that is Apple TV, right? Apple TV has a lot of fantastic shows that don't get seen. And I think that it has done some really good marketing that hasn't been like in your face, but just enough for people to gravitate towards it. Oh, a new Apple TV show. Oh, this poster looks interesting. Oh, this is the guy that did Breaking Bad. There's a lot of Breaking Bad fans, especially after the pandemic. A lot of people watched it over the
Oh yeah.
pandemic and are big fans.
Well,
So seeing the creator of that coming to do this, they're like, oh, I want to follow what he does next.
yeah.
And all my friends that are watching it talk about how great the show is and how they're theorizing about what's going on. I think that also helps because
That's key.
it's a conversation starter. It's like what is actually happening. It's the mystery of it. It's the satirical nature of it. Because I also hear there's like a little satire on what's going on in the real world. So I think that show has a lot of different things going for it at the same time that's generating a lot of conversation.
I think you're right. I think it's really refreshing to get back to a water cooler show like Pluribus, like Severance, like Shrinking, like Ted Lasso. It goes on and on when it comes to Apple TV, and they really have strike that HBO style creator driven, genre driven TV series that really get people that can't take their eyes off of it. And I think the numbers speak for itself. And so it's really refreshing to see that we have another banger on our hands from Apple TV. Not Plus anymore. They got rid of the Plus. And it's funny that you mentioned, once Breaking Bad went on to Netflix, that show became the biggest show of all time. So there is this thing that we're seeing happening where you need to be careful with how you handle the marketing of a show, how you put out episodes, whether it's weekly, whether it's all at once, because it really can affect the audience that are going to come to your show. And it seems like Apple is really able to find that balance of one, marketing in a way to get people interested, pique their interest, but not give too much. And two, give 2 episodes to premiere and then do a weekly show because now the conversation's rolling. And Pluribus is a great show to show that we still want to see weekly episodes, that
High quality
it
episodes.
keeps us engaged and it pulls us closer. On top of that, Vince Gilligan said he created this show namely because Rhea Seehorn is such a great actress. He just wanted a show to flex her acting muscles and said, I just wanted to work with her again. And so we came up with this. And
That's
I can
amazing.
safely say she's crushing it in the show. And, my wife, who is not a big Breaking Bad, a big Better Call Saul fan, is really liking the series so far and really engaged. And it's a slow burn, but it's a burn that gives you enough tidbits to keep you on the hook and keep you wondering, oh, well, if the aliens are doing this, does that mean they can do that? Or, and so it's enough, breadcrumbs to keep you wanting more week to week. And that is how you sell a show. And it's working, as we can see from the numbers.
You know what's funny? Because while you bring up topics, I'm always looking up to see if I can find more details to bring to the conversation. And I saw that, this is big for Apple, right? They've had Severance and now they have this. They don't
Right.
like, they have other shows that are like highly reviewed, but not streaming number wise.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Peacock has nothing, right? They really don't have a big show
No.
until now. All Her Fault is also in the top 2. And this is one
That's
of
what
their
I'm
biggest
hearing.
shows ever, and it did 2 billion views so far.
Wow. That one show was really big this past summer. It was or like this earlier this year. It was with Eddie Redmayne, The Jackal.
Oh, The Jackal.
The
Yeah.
Jackal. That was a really big win for them at the time.
Yeah.
But Man, and so is that NBC Global? Is that the one that's bidding for HBO?
Yeah.
So they could really use HBO,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, because they're struggling.
Okay.
They get stuff here and there, maybe on the lower
Yeah.
end, but this is their first #1 streaming show.
Really?
Uh,
Poker Face, right? Poker Face was
well,
huge,
it,
right?
it got to like #7, #6, number
Okay.
5, but the
Interesting.
second season didn't do good, and now it's canceled. So it never caught on as big as something like All Your Fault is doing.
Okay. You know what? We're starting it tonight. Right now. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm gonna tell my wife because we have been keeping an eye on it, hearing the rumblings. It's
Yeah.
trending, so yeah, but I digress because Pluribus right now on Apple TV, it's just a sight to behold because Vince Gilligan is such a smart and creative writer. But when you do something as big as, you know, Breaking Bad and then a spinoff, which is arguably one of the best written spinoffs of any hit TV series I've ever seen in my life. And I watch a lot of TV. They never really get a win after because that was their opus, their magnum opus. And so to see Vince be like, I got something else under the sleeve, and have Rhea be able to flex her muscles because she was on Better Call Saul and she was absolutely amazing and was nominated so many times but never won anything. And so I think Vince Gilligan was like, let's get her back in the limelight. I have this idea, and it's just great to see everything come together and pay off.
Yeah.
Collector, I'm here too. Hello. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Collector.
Thank you for joining us. So it's really beautiful to see that this great writer is not a one-trick pony, but he
Yeah.
is continuing to use what he learned in X-Files, use what he learned on Breaking Bad, use what he learned in Better Call Saul, and be like, no, I'm one of the best TV writers in the game. I'm still going, and
I think
so
the biggest thing is the fact that if all the other streaming services start getting hits, the biggest one, which is Netflix, can't just sit on their laurels, which I feel like they kind of have a little bit. They kind of done the true crime thing and the true crime doc, and then they've been trying to chase another Stranger Things, but they haven't
yeah,
really pushed the envelope as much. Like they used Squid Game and like squeezed as much out of Squid Game as they could. So if HBO and Peacock and Paramount and Apple start really getting these big shows out, Netflix has to go like, okay, we really got to curate something to stay on top.
yeah, no, 100%, and they might be able to do that once they own HBO.
Let's take one of the competition out.
So what do you guys think? Are you watching Pluribus? What do you think about Pluribus being Apple TV's biggest opening for a drama series in their entire Apple TV existence? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. All right, guys. With that down, I've been waiting to get into this bad boy because since Zach and I have been talking about Superman, arguably the biggest movie of last year, maybe not money wise, but it was very highly talked about by critics, by fans, by the comic community, and overall, a lot of people really enjoyed it. On the other side, there's some people that are very closely tied to what came before and just have a hard time letting go and admitting that, yes, Superman did make money. Well, my friends, I hate to be the bearer of bad news of people that want to deny that it made a profit, but the Forbes report has come out and they are stating that Superman did earn $150 million profit. This comes to us from Screen Rant. They say the latest reports about Superman's earnings underline a result for the DCU's first film that seemed perhaps inevitable even in just the first few days of the movie's release. The DCU timeline found itself kicking off at a complicated time for the superhero genre, but its results have been largely positive thus far, with the franchise's first movie and first 2 shows having both seen promising reviews, despite what fans try and say online. Of course, releasing 2 television shows and 1 movie during this time can be seen to have put a little more pressure on Superman, as it meant Superman's earnings would be even more important when it came to understanding what the DCU's path forward would look like. Several months after Superman's release and theatrical run, it seems we can rest easy knowing Superman was the right choice in terms of what the movie franchise should release first. A Forbes report on Superman and what its results mean for DC and DCU itself noted that, quote, the film will have generated significantly more than 100 million profits and approaching 150 million globally when it's all said and done by the end of this year. This stands to reason as Superman's worldwide box office alone made 660 million on a reported budget of 225 million, all statistics as per the numbers. Though it is worth noting that this budget doesn't appear to factor in a range of other expenses such as marketing costs, which would explain the Forbes findings, not simply looking at the movie's box office minus its budget. One of the most frequently discussed metrics to see if a movie broke even or proved profitable is still to see if it made around 2.5 times its budget, as this roughly estimates whether the film would be able to account for other costs in its box office alone, which Superman certainly does, having made around 2.7 times its budget in this regard. So I want to talk to you, Zach, because I'm sure you've seen the chatter online. A lot of the Snyder Bros like to argue that it lost money, that the DCU is dead in the water, blah, blah, blah. But now we are seeing actual statistics and numbers and Forbes saying that, yes, Superman did make a profit and it actually is approaching an $150 million profit. What do you have to say about the Forbes, finally showing these numbers? And 2, why do you think fans try to hamper down just how successful the Superman movie was for the DCU?
Yeah, I feel like it's weird that they even had to do this report at all. You don't
I
see
know.
many movies months after it was released. It came out in the summer, and we're in Oscar bait season right now, and they're talking about the profit it made. It's just really, really weird because no other film, they're not doing it for Fantastic Four. They didn't even do it for Brave New World, which they attacked. So I don't know why they're doing that, but I, early reports came out and said that the movie made a profit. So I don't even know why that was in question. Of course,
Right.
the movie made a profit, right? Like it made almost $700 million. No, the movie couldn't have
Fantastic.
cost that much that it didn't, So it's really, really weird that we're getting this report. I think it's one of those things where you talked about earlier, where it's a slow day at the office. We're not getting a lot of information, so they were like, we got to put something out. In terms of why people wanted to fail, obviously, like the Snyder Bros, like you said, the toxic ones. Because I want to say, not every Snyder Bro is toxic, but me.
No. They're not, because you and I love Zack Snyder. Like,
Yeah,
you love Sucker Punch. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, yeah. And so it's like there is a difference between Snyder Bros that are toxic and the Snyder
the
Bros that
stands.
just like Snyder movies.
Yeah,
But it seems like there is a group of Snyder Bros that have a hard time accepting that this is the new DCU that we live in and that it was a good start.
I don't even think it's even about Snyder anymore, to be honest with you. I just think that these people don't have nothing else better to do, and they use this as their cause, and they feel like they're fighting for some revolutionary thing online, and they're just wasting their time. It's done, it's over. No matter what you do, yes, the movie didn't do the box office of Man of Steel. It doesn't matter because Man of Steel is not coming back. This is what's
Right.
here. It's successful. It's doing well. The general audience, which who James Gunn wants to get, love the film. And even if the film's not perfect, it's the first one, right? The first Iron Man wasn't perfect. The first Captain America wasn't perfect. The first Thor wasn't perfect. Heck, the first Avengers wasn't perfect. But it's a really solid base for them to build on and to get us a better movie the second time around. And that probably is going to be do even better than the first Superman.
Yeah.
So this is a success through critics, through audience, through helping the perception of the new DC universe and people like talking about it. Like I've had friends who've been making jokes about the DC universe, whether it's making fun of the Arrowverse or making fun of the DCEU. When I
Right.
watched this movie, I was like, you know what? I actually really like this. And it's not, it doesn't feel like they're copying Marvel. And I
Got him.
think that is the main thing. So it's doing well, not only box office wide, but it's making money on rental. Like a lot of people are renting the movie. It's been in the
Oh yeah.
top 10 since it's been there. So this movie is making a lot of money for Warner Brothers and it's making a lot of money for DC Studios. So it's absolutely a success.
No, 100%, 100%. I just wanted to put this on here to put it to rest because every time I post a short about us talking about Superman or the DC or anything like that, they always try to come back with, well, it lost money. Like it's already a failure. So why would they continue? And it's like, well, you guys, it's actually a success, and it's actually what James Gunn and Peter Safran had hoped for is this successful of a movie. So I just think like it's so hard for them to leave their stuff at the door and just accept that this is the new DCU. If you want to go along for the journey, come along and leave it at the door. And if not, don't watch it. You know what I mean? So this is where we're going to be at least for the foreseeable future. And whoever, buys Warner Brothers what they want to do with the DCU moving forward. But
Yeah.
it's going to be hard when these movies are making a profit. And Forbes has now officially put to rest, Superman made a profit of almost 150 million. That's after
Yeah.
everything is said and done. So say what you will, but I'm sorry, you guys, this movie was successful.
Yeah.
All right. Enough said. You guys, drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. Share your thoughts. Be respectful. But also, tell us we were right. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. We are almost out of here. We got 2 more things to cover, and I've been waiting to get into this. I'm actually going to introduce this topic a little bit differently. So we got on the set photos of the X-Men on Doomsday. Mamma mia. AI goes again. AI. How can we forgive you? Because it's fake. It is not real, my friends. Yes, there has been images circulating online that these are the behind the scenes photos of the X-Men with Monica Rambeau, that we got the whole cast and crew back together. But unfortunately, AI is run wild because, my friends, these are not real. So I want to talk to you about this a little bit because we are seeing a frenzy happen right now of AI behind the scenes photos, and it's getting a little bit out of hand. And so I really wanted to bring this up to talk to you about. Is everything okay?
Give me one sec.
Okay. I really wanted to bring this up because it's interesting what these AI photos, especially when it comes to the superhero movies that we love and that are most anticipated that we're looking for. And what's that doing to fandom? What is that doing to us who have been really looking forward to these movies when we're seeing this stuff with these, fake costumes and fake images that are kind of giving us an idea of what we think could be possible, but are 100% fake. And so it's a very interesting time that we're living in. And so I want to ask you, Zach, one, when you start to see these photos pop up online, are you like, oh my God, they're actually showing us behind the scenes photos? Or are you like, no, these are 100% AI and fake? And what do you think by showing these fake AI behind the scene photos of the most anticipated movies that we are looking forward to are doing to fandom in general?
Yeah, I think this is the next level of when those sites post fake theories or fake story tidbits of what's going to happen in a movie, and then people take it as gospel. And then when they watch the movie, it doesn't happen. They get disappointed because they feel like, oh, they cut this when it was never in play in the first place. This is that next level where now it's images. So we're seeing these images of things that we're like, oh, that's how the suit has to look. Oh, these are how all these characters are going to look together.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody's in the movie. Oh, Monica Rambeau is definitely with the team. That's exactly how Mystique is going to look. So you go crazy, you do all these things, and then the movie comes, and then you see like, oh, Monica Rambeau's not with this version of the X-Men, or blah, 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 or whatever happens. That's not how Doom is going to look. And it causes this thing where there's going to be like this backlash, because I've seen it so many times where like people taking these stories from comic book news or superhero hype or Daniel RPK or these other people who put out these tidbits of like Daniel Craig is going to be in Multiverse of Madness, and then you expect to see Tom Cruise come in as, remember like Multiverse of Madness, it was like Daniel Craig is going to be Thor's brother, and Tom Cruise is going to be playing an Iron Man variant because he was supposed to be Iron Man originally.
Yeah.
And they're going to bring, and then everybody expect these things, and they watch Multiverse of Madness, and none of the stuff that they thought was going to be in the movie is not in the movie. Now it becomes disappointing. This is the next level of that, where now there, I've seen that same picture you have up there, but with him with hair. So like now you're like, oh, Gambit's gonna have the traditional hair that he has. So that's what these pictures are doing. Is it's gonna cause untrained eyes to believe that these things are real and get really, really excited, especially with the comic accurate costumes. They're gonna be like, oh, they're doing it. Like, it's gonna cause problems.
One of my I guess heroes in this space, John Campea, he always says, don't let what is it? Oh, he has such a great line. I had it on the tip of my tongue. He said, don't let speculation become expectation. And now that we're seeing actual visual cues from the movie, now it's making us even more that this is what we're expecting, that they have to have the comic accurate Mystique with the skull belt and all that stuff, that we need to see, them have a scene together of all three of them, that, now these photos are making us actually have bigger expectations, and thus maybe being more let down once we get to the movie. You know what I mean? And so these AI photos are really messing with fandom, because now we don't get to imagine anymore. The imagining is now done for us, because the click of a button, you can just generate an image and be like, oh, that's exactly what I was imagining, instead of just letting it live in your minds and in the discussions that you have with other fans. Now we have these images that we're going to compare to when the movie comes out and be like, oh man, why didn't they use that costume from the fake AI photo? It looks so much better than what we got on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because you hear like, oh, I saw fan art that had better suits than that. So now it's going to be like, oh, I've seen AI images that had a better suit. Why couldn't they use that? That's all it's going to do.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, they got this, selfie with, Tiana Paris and James Marsden and Channing Tatum and all in costume. And then, the image showed the actress holding a phone, which despite meant to be an iPhone 17 Pro does not match the real life design of the actual device, and so it's like, oh, this is weird. And then it's like, so it's like, what's the conclusion here? That the X-Men in the image look remarkably comic accurate, but the picture does not appear to be real. Like the quality of it though is a testament to how advanced artificial intelligence has gotten in just a short amount of time. But now we're always going to be comparing these fake photos to what we actually get in the actual movie. And so nothing is like left to the imagination anymore.
Exactly.
And that is a little disappointing to me. And so, are these photos sick to imagine, like, that we're actually going to get the comic accurate Cyclops costume that he never actually got, and that James Marsden's going to get his due, and that, Gambit is going to be a part of the X-Men, which we never got before in live action. Yeah, that's awesome. But like, I don't need to be spoon-fed that through AI. I can wait and build up that anticipation to the movie and let my imagination, do the talking when it comes to these conversations. Now we don't get that. It takes away from that imagination, and that is disappointing to me,
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree. There is a positive um where AI can be used to help things, but there's just not one of them. Because we get these images where you make people look like they're doing things that they're actually not doing. It's kind of scary.
How far do you think companies will let AI go before they step in? I don't think they will step in, to be honest. I think this bodes well for them. Let the people speculate, put out photos. I think it's better than having the people with the long lenses steal shots from them on screen. Because before it was about covering the costumes, not seeing these like long range, like great 4K lenses get these behind the scene photos. And now they're like, oh, maybe these AI photos will make it so they'll just keep doing AI photos, speculate, and they won't be trying to like actually see what we're
On
doing
set.
on
Yeah.
set.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
they
yeah,
already
I
caught
don't
a
know.
picture early on of a foreign actor that's really big in other countries walking on
Yeah,
set of Doomsday. And that could have been a big surprise. But now people like us kind of know that he might be in there. And then the speculation of like, oh, he might be playing the real Doom. And then that spirals. So
right.
like I could see maybe even Marvel pushing people to make fake AI images to kind of just push people away from the truth. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think, oh, my wife. Erica, I love you. No, I don't think these companies are putting out these photos. I think they're putting out the photos that we've seen of Spider-Man. I think there's a big possibility that, especially with the lackluster performances of some of their past movies in the box office, they really want to hype up Spider-Man. So those like really crystal clear cut photos, the videos of Tom Holland and Zendaya shaking hands, I think they might have some, some hand in the pot there per se.
Yeah.
But with these AI photos, no, I don't think. I think they have way more things on the docket for them to do than generate AI photos. So I don't think they're the ones putting them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think that these AI images are actually ruining fandom and now nothing is left to the imagination and now expectations are just not going to be met by the time we actually get to the movie? Or do you like having a visual cue of what could possibly be? Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts. All right, guys. We got one more topic before I know you got to get out of here. So we are almost done. But before we do, I want to get into this because it seems like Disney is not saying, let it go to three cast members of Frozen, because these guys are shelling out all the money for a third and fourth Frozen movie. That's right, my friends. This comes to us from Screen Rant. They say Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, or Adele Dazeem, as our boy John Travolta likes to say, and Josh Gad will be making a record-breaking amount of money for Frozen 3 and 4. The third installment in Disney's hit animated franchise is scheduled to release on November 24th, 2027. Frozen 3's cast is bringing back Menzel, Belle, Gad, Elsa, Anna, Olaf, all of them. And according to The Wrap, these three actors have each signed deals worth $60 million for their returns for Frozen 3 and Frozen 4. These are among the highest amounts ever paid to actors in the history of animation. Upfront fees and back-end bonuses are included in the $60 million total, which is a significant increase from the stars being paid $15 million each for Frozen 2. All three actors are paid the same amount for each of the films in the series. And an executive with knowledge of the groundbreaking deal clarified that the $60 million will not be a lump sum and will be paid over the course of several years as per the movie's production and box office performance. Jennifer Lee, who co-directed and co-wrote the first two Frozen movies, is returning to direct the third and fourth films as well. She announced in 2024 she is stepping down from her role as Disney Animation's Chief Creative Officer in order to focus on making Frozen 3 and Frozen 4 great, and apparently spending all the monies on their actors. Both Frozen and Frozen 2 are among Disney's animated movies that gross $1 billion or more at the worldwide box office. Frozen earned nearly $1.3 billion following its theatrical release, and the sequel managed to outperform its predecessor with $1.45 billion. This is an extremely lucrative franchise, and it seems like the creators and Disney is putting their money literally where their actors' mouths are, because they're not letting them go. I want to ask you, what do you think of these three stars getting paid $60 million? That's my Chris Tucker impression, actually. What do you think you got? Chelsea Clinton? And what do you think about, is it worth it for Frozen 3 and Frozen 4?
This just tells me that they're making insane levels amounts of money off of Frozen as a franchise. Whether it's from the music parts, the movie being rented, the movie making money for the streaming service, or the toys, renting it out to other places, the international. Other than the $1 billion box office, because the box office, that's a lot of money, but it's split up amongst theaters and all the people that were involved and stuff like that. But the stuff outside the box office, that's the reason why these people are getting paid so much. It's because this is a franchise that makes a ton of money after the movie's already out of the theater. And kids love it, right? Kids love Frozen. I've never seen any of the Frozen movies, but I've been hearing about it nonstop ever since the first one's come out. Even this long gap between the second and the third, I always hear about it. And they are also kind of rumored there'll be a live action version and stuff like that. So they're really invested in this franchise. I think Olaf even got like a little spin-off special or something like that. It's just something that they're going to pillage for as much money as they can. And the kids love it. And they're going to keep making tons of money off of it. So the actors who are these iconic voices absolutely deserve to get paid what's probably going to be a small percentage of how much money they're going to make off of 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think you're right. I think, the numbers look crazy, right? like 60 million each for 2 animated films, for going into the booth, probably at their mansion, in their closet or wherever, and doing some lines. 60 mil. And of course they said, up fronts and back end and, depending on, they're going to make
How well the
billion of
movie
dollars.
does.
Like,
Yeah.
it's going to make billion. But it's a surefire bet when it comes to this franchise at this point. And the number is just crazy in the sense that this is a record-breaking number for a voice actor role of all time. So when it comes to like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with Moana 2, he reportedly made 20 million. Tom Hanks is said to have earned between 25 to 40 for his role as Woody in Toy Story 4. And then, Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, and Eddie Murphy, the trio reportedly earned large sums of money for their voice work in the Shrek franchise. And of course, Steve Carell with Despicable Me is up there too. But they do not compare to 60 million each for 2 sequels. That is a wild number. But at the end of the day, these movies are making billions. And that's just in the theater. Like you said, with merchandise, with attractions, with all that other stuff, with spin-offs, with TV shows, with shorts. This is a huge, huge property for Disney. And they are not going to waste any time working out deals with their stars. They're like, you know what? We're going to create history. Here's 60 million each. Let's go. We're giving you the stuff. Record at your home. End of discussion.
Depending on how much money they make, that might be a low ball.
Seriously. I mean, Dwayne only made 20 million for Moana 2, which is also another $1 billion animated Disney animation property. So it's kind of incredible that they landed at 60. That's insane. And so I don't know if there was, negotiations or anything like that, because that is a huge sum per actor. But something that is beautiful is that these 3 actors are like, no, we're in it together. So whatever those 2 make, we all make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Kristen Bell and Adina, the 2 stars, are like, whatever we make, the snowman's making 60 also.
Yeah, it's important.
Crazy. So I'm going to ask you, before we get out of here, I know you got to get out of here. Why have you not, you are an animated person. Was the Frozen movie so hyped that it kind of took you out of it, and that's why you never got to it?
No, hype never really deters me from watching something. I think it was just there's a lot of Disney animated movies that I didn't watch because I had the silly idea that like many people have, it was just kiddie, right? Like, and I wasn't into it. I didn't think it was gonna do anything for me emotionally or entertainment wise. And I've come around from that because I've watched Encanto, I've watched Soul, which I love Soul. I've watched Turning Red. I've watched Lightyear. I've watched a bunch of these other ones
Coco?
that they've made. I haven't watched Coco yet. Watched all these other newer ones that I really, really love. So now I'm gotta slowly like make my way back and watch like Cars and WALL-E and Up.
The loyalists are gonna say, that's Pixar, that's not Disney animation. They're gonna they're gonna come for our next.
I love as well, right? Like that's Disney animation,
so
right?
good.
That's not Pixar.
Yes,
Tobey
yes,
is
sir.
so good. So I gotta watch a lot of their stuff that they came up before that I kind of just completely missed. And Frozen is definitely one of them.
Yeah, and to be honest, I did catch on late. I didn't watch Frozen until years later, until my wife actually was like, you should watch it. Like, it's pretty good, and you love animation and music. So I gave it a chance. I'm like, yeah, it's good. They were right. The hype is real. Second one, a little bit to be desired, but I think for kids, it's fantastic. But at the end of the day, I am really happy that, besides Pixar, animation at Disney, which is arguably the goated animation studio of all time, it's still putting things out there like Moana, like Frozen, like Encanto, that is really getting audiences to the theater. And that's something that I really love, that really makes me happy. So I'm glad that Frozen is the big franchise that it became. And now it's safe to say we getting a lot more because these actors are getting paid out the tuchus, my friend.
Life-changing, never have to work ever again money.
Ever. So $60 million. Who you think you kidnapped? Chelsea Clinton? No one's even going to know Chelsea Clinton is at this point. All right, guys. That will do it, my friends. Oh my goodness. Actually, I'm taking you out of here too. Now, before we get out of here, and I'm sure you will appreciate this, I just wanted to say this one thing. Sorry, I know we're almost out here. I did want to say this. Earlier this week, our boy Chadwick Boseman got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Ryan Coogler, Letitia came out, Michael B. Darn, I can't think of her name right now. She's in the,
Letitia Wright?
What?
Letitia
No,
Wright?
she's from, what?
Lupita Nyong'o?
No, she didn't. She actually wasn't there. No, it's from the bottom. His last movie, Ma Rainey. It's Ma Rainey. I can't think of
Viola Davis.
Thank you so much. Viola Davis had a great speech. Before we get out, I just want to say this show, anytime it finds a way to honor Chadwick Boseman, we will do it. And this is a huge honor. It was a beautiful ceremony. My wife and I watched the whole thing, watched his beautiful wife speak, had Ryan Coogler in tears trying to get out his words. Just really, really beautiful ceremony. So well deserved. And man, after that, we were watching, especially, that ending of Black Panther 1 when they're in Oakland and he says it's time for us to start sharing our resources. Shows, the Bugatti spaceship. And the kid says, "Is that yours? Who are you?" And he smiles at the kid and it's like, "All the lights in it." It's just one of the most iconic scenes.
Magical.
But it's just so Chadwick. And so I just want to say what a beautiful way to honor Chadwick, what he did in such a short amount of time for the art of cinema, for the geekdom of Marvel and the MCU. It's just so well deserved. So before we get out here, just wanted to honor what a great thing that is to finally have his star on the Walk of Fame with the people that love him, honoring him. And so I just wanted to say that before we got out here. Did you get a chance to see that at all?
I didn't get to watch and sit down and watch the whole thing, but I've seen clips. I saw Ryan Coogler's speech. I saw parts of it, and it was well deserved. Even outside of Black Panther, you think about him playing Jackie Robinson and Thurgood Marshall and all these iconic figures, and how much effort he put into acting, and other people he helped put on, and all that stuff. Five Bloods, he made his stamp on cinema, and this is a well deserved thing.
I just think I've never seen an actor, maybe besides Heath Ledger, have such a smaller stint and still make the biggest impact in film, in cinema, in humankind like Chadwick. And so anytime we get a chance to honor Chadwick Boseman on the show, we will do it because he means more than movies, than comics. It's about the type of person he was and what he meant to so many people. So just wanted to mention that before we got off. I knew you would like this and appreciate it, for, worth keeping you on a little bit longer. But drop a comment below, honor Chadwick, any movie, any scene, any memory you have. Definitely share your thoughts. We would love to hear it. So that will do it, my friends. That is the show. We did have a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning. So thank you for tuning in and staying with us. Drop a comment below. Be respectful. Share your comments. I know we talked a little Superman, and so that could bring some stuff, but this is all stuff we love. This is all things that hit people differently. So please, if you're going to share your thoughts, don't crap on other people's, but try and have a conversation, because that's what this community is all about. So, Zach, where can the good people find you?
Find me on YouTube at Zach Attack Reviews, just like it says down there. Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Zach Attack Reviews, all those places. I think it's Zach Attack RVS on social media for the most part. You can find me on there with my movie takes, my letterbox reviews, and my shorts, and my long-term form reviews and things like that.
Fantastic. I love your channel. I love your takes. And it is always a pleasure and a privilege having you on this show, my friend. I wish you a great start to your week. I wish everyone else a great start to their week. And also, go to the movies. See a movie. Go by yourself and say hello to the staff. Say hello to the person next to you. Talk about the movie after and enjoy yourself, because that is what it's all about, my friend. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks.
It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.